Are you stuck doing this when you're looking for a tank? Well, I guess you could say my character's comfy, eh? So, ladies and gentlemen, this video is brought to you by No Tank. That's right. The reason this video is being made is because in some of these affixes, if you don't play Shadowlands or know what Mythic Plus dungeons are and the variants to doing higher levels, you might not know what I mean. So let me explain the current week's affixes are these. Also, you should probably know the higher you go in keys, the higher the damage and the health pool of the enemies in that dungeon are. We'll start with this first one, Fortified. Now, what this does is non-boss enemies have 20% more health and inflict up to 30% increased damage. That might be nothing to some, but that might be a lot to people when you're in higher keys. The next one, if you're a main melee DPS class, you're gonna feel the pain of this affix all too well. Sanguine. Sanguine is whenever a non-boss enemy dies, a pool of sanguine forms at its location, like this. Starting from the point it died and expanding. But guess what? It's got two effects that need to be made clear to 1, the tank, and 2, DPS melee cleaving. Move adds out, and melee, don't stand in it. Here's why. For adds, it heals them 5% of their health each second. It's important. Each second that's in there, it's getting healed 5% of its health. As for players standing in it, it deals 15% of the health that you have per second of damage. See, this is exactly why everyone starts playing caster classes. Note the effects of Sanguine do stack. So if you kill 2 mobs, literally like in an instant, they both drop it, now you're taking 30% damage. Bosses do not create Sanguine, so that's a plus, but guess what? They can be healed from it. On to the third one that brings us to the video being made. The beloved affix called Necrotic. Fucking Necrotic, dude. A Necrotic is, all enemies' melee attacks apply a stacking blight called Necrotic Wound. That inflicts damage over time and reduces healing received. It reduces the potency of healing and absorption shield by 2% per stack and dealing stacking damage. The debuff lasts for 9 seconds, but the rotation of the debuff is refreshed each time a new stack is applied. Now, for myself playing as a paladin, there's a couple of niche ways to get around it, or not even really niche ways, but common sense plays. If you're plugging these affixes, your first best bet would be to get talented in a consecrated ground. That just slows your enemies by 50% and makes your consecrate 15% bigger. And as for another one, having Final Stand talented. So I had this hunter tell me to play Final Stand, but I'm all about the DPS. Like, that's just what it is, right? But Final Stand, it's when you pop Divine Shield while you can keep aggro, but as popping Divine Shield, you take all the debuffs of Necrotic Wound off. So me, I still play Righteous Protector. I'm just way more worried about dealing damage and getting more procs from Wings and Ancient Guardian. Normally, the healer I play with, I talk to him in Discord. That's just the way it is, because it's incredibly hard if you don't. So, realistically, play Consecrated Ground and slap that fucking shit down, and then hi-ho silver away. The last affix, being in Shadowlands Season 2, is going to be Tormented, which all is said is pretty much kill enemies that resemble Torias mobs or things from the mall, and you'll pick up an Anima power. I highly suggest you to actually look at these, especially if it's your first time running the dungeon, and to not pick up something that's going to gimp you or your party. So now we ask, why do I find myself sitting here doing the healer and other DPS, and needless to say, I lose all of them because I just straight up suck. And then I also get clapped by the tiny blobs from aggroing right in front of Plaguefall. But why are we doing all this while we wait on a tank? Is it because people don't know the mechanics? Or is it just because pug tanks generally aren't comfortable with this affix? Well, most dungeons you'll say people don't know mechanics as to getting booted off the platforms into the other side, or completely DC'ing. Let me show you this guy. Pulling extra mobs in Spires of Ascension, coming to the third boss. My dumbass casting Divine Toll while another Huntsman pack was behind me. Melee DPS and Necrotic Wake clearly staying in with a debuff when they should be running out. Or mages being seated where they shouldn't be. I think it clearly comes down to one thing and one thing only. It starts with the Slugmog. I'm kidding. The affix Necrotic sucks, but it still is mechanics. I'm a true DPSer and I believe in the just heal through it mantra. Man, I love telling healers that. Who doesn't? But if you're somewhat serious about getting a higher IO or gear, mechanics have to be done. If you have any comments, concerns about this video, leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe. Maybe there's more videos. If you want me to describe other affixes, or if you're looking into this game, let me know and I'll make more. Alright, later.